Okay, morning, folks. Welcome to the briefing on Christmas Eve. I'm not going to take my coat off as it's still cold in here, but certainly not as cold as America by the looks of it. What we've got out there looks positively tropical compared to that. Essentially because we're in, as you can see, this southwesterly airflow coming across the Atlantic, so it's bringing in moist air and warmer air up over us. A little bit more of a stable picture than yesterday, with the fronts gone through. Pressure's risen a little bit. Isobars have spaced out a little bit more, so the wind is a little bit lighter, certainly at flying heights, and less risk of showers, but it's still there, according to Farnborough's forecast. But as you can see, this is where the wind's coming from, essentially, and you can see the next fronts sort of rolling themselves in for the next couple of days. But it won't be flying, so it'll be looking out the window or going out for a walk for most people. Okay, so what are the TAFs saying? Farnborough, 238 knots, but it feels almost calm out there at the moment, and there's a couple of knots maybe. So if it does pick up to 230 degrees, then at 8 knots, well, we may have to consider how we're going to operate and change our plans. But scattered at 4.5, I can't see any cloud there. There's sort of bits of overcast really at that height. The tempos, slight reduced visibility to start off with, and also a tempo chance of rain later on today and this afternoon, and that I think is just associated with a small line of showers that currently are over northern France, potential to head this way. So fairly stable picture really, nothing dramatic in there. And the upper winds, they're saying 220, 25 knots. I think it's, other forecasts are sort of showing a little bit more westerly. We'll talk about a setup, but I think we are going to try 2.7 to start off with and see if that works. It was the logical option. If it is 220, 230 degrees, that strength wind, we might have to revert to 2.3. Sat pick just shows the sort of upper cloud really in here. Not really a great deal of it. I think it's fairly thin, and there's no real rain attached to any of it. It's just been monitoring these showers drifting up the English Channel, and that could well be something we get late this afternoon as they sort of come up from northern France, and across us. Temperature wise, let's say it's not going to feel quite as warm as yesterday, but 10 degrees, 11 degrees, which is above the seasonal average for this time of year. Will feel pleasant enough out on the runway. You certainly wouldn't want to take your coat off, but it won't be several layers and thermals out there. So what are Top Meteo saying? Well, they're showing it clear to start off with, but bizarrely they are showing, as the morning goes on, it clouding over and turning foggy. Now this is a complete 180 from what they were actually showing. That's 12 o'clock and then 1 o'clock. A complete 180 from what they were showing last night when I looked, which had this sort of picture first thing in the morning, then clearing up very, very quickly. It's a case of temperatures and dew points. If they do merge a little bit, we could well find ourselves in fog because the air mass is quite moist, but we'll see. I think we're just going to look out the window, take it as it comes really. They're forecasting the wind at 30 feet. very, very light. You can see 0 to 3 knots there in and around this area here. Very, very light, southwesterly. First thing in the morning. And not really changing, so certainly not very strong today. So hopefully we'll be able to get away with 2-7. I'll talk about that in a sec. So airspace wise, absolutely nothing to worry about. And obviously no jet movements. TUI shut down for the Christmas period. Completely clear. I don't know why they've left that one on there, but it's a permanent NOTAM for the moment. That just says that Middle Wallop has become a permanent winch launching site. So airfield operations, we're going to go on 2-7. It rained certainly on Thursday, enough to sort of make it a bit soft on parts of the airfield. So we're going to operate on the runway. Launch point will be here. Winch will be down here somewhere on the south side with cables towed out on the boom to launching gliders, winch launching gliders on the south side of the launch point vehicle. Landings on the runway, yeah, if you circuit to the south, left-hand circuit, land on the runway. If you circuit to the north, land on the grass. That avoids conflict back here somewhere on the final turn. And remember, when you're landing, you just sort of touch down in this area here, roll to here, one side or the other, and then we'll pull you back to the main launch point. Okay, fairly straightforward. Yes, the grass is soggy, but use it if you need to. Don't let that be a factor of thinking where you're going to land. If you need to land there, land on the grass. Okay, folks, I think they're going to get the gliders out of the hangar, so I'll see you out there fairly shortly, and we'll set up with the launch point at the intersection here.